To my peers who may have not taken literature, I want you to know that taking this class has taught me so much history of where African Americans evolved from. Reading the many different stories such as The Mulatto by Victor Sojourn or the autobiography of an ex-colored man by James Johnson has a tendency of bringing us face to face with the horrible times our ancestors dealt with daily. America treated us like we were nobodies hundreds of years ago, and in the 21st century, these problems are still present. During the semester, many of these stories made me uncomfortable of knowing how we were treated, but better helped me recognize the hardships of being African American. Also understanding why some black people are so independent or even not trusting to other ethnicities. When I registered for this class, I didn't think it would mold me into a better person, being more appreciative of my race. Studying African American literature displays its importance of becoming aware of our own differences so we can appreciate them, and also making something out of being African American rather than being a statistic. Many of us white, black, or even Hispanic will be faced with racism one day, but by taking African American literature will help you understand how to stand up for yourself in a nonviolent way and be proud of your culture despite the flaws. Langston Hughes will be the best teacher for the Black Lives Matter movement. In The Negro Artist and Erasure Mountain, Langston Hughes says that black artists should stop copying whites because we'll never create something of our own. Langston Hughes wants us to be proud of who we are and that there's no reason to be ashamed of being black. He states that I am ashamed too for the color artist who runs from the painting of the Negro faces, meaning he's ashamed of people who disown the African American race. Hughes wants us to express our individual dark-skinned selves without fear or shame. Hughes goes on to say that if the white people are pleased, we're glad, but if not, it doesn't matter. Like a teacher, Langston Hughes encourages us to express ourselves within our culture. He also wants us to forget about what others may think and create a brand not only for the African American culture, but yourself. A good coach would be Henry Garnett. In his speech, he tells the slaves they need to rebel against the system of slavery, but in a nonviolent way. Garnett wants the slaves to take it upon themselves to gain freedom instead of waiting on someone else to get them freed. If the slaves want freedom, they must initiate a change so things can work in their favor. He states, let your motto be resistance. No oppressed people have ever secured their liberty without resistance. For example, in a basketball game, if your team is losing, your coach can only draw up so many plays to help out. But if you work as a team on the court, making good decisions, you'll have a better outcome of winning the game. The best facilitator is Frederick Douglass. Being a former slave, he taught himself how to read. In What to the Slave is the 4th of July, Douglass reminds the audience that this holiday is a day of celebration for white Americans. This was still a day of mourning for slaves as well. 4th of July was a reminder of the broken promises of equal liberty. Douglass states that not fewer than 40 Americans have within the past 2 years been hunted down and without a moment's warning hurried away in chains and co-signs of slavery and excruciating torture. Douglass' speech is to educate the fellow citizens that he's aware of what's really going on in America. He quotes, "What to America's slave is your 4th of July? I answer, a day that reveals to him, more than all other days in a year, the gross injustice and cruelty to which he is the constant victim." Frederick Douglass seems like someone who is not only intelligent but does all his research before presenting this breathtaking speech. This is the kind of person we will want as a facilitator for the Black Lives Matter movement.